Welcome to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer. Louisville has a lot to cheer about on the soccer field. Racing Louisville Football Club burst onto the scene in 2021 as an expansion team in the National Women's Soccer League, the highest level of professional women's soccer in the U.S. In doing so, they became the first major league professional sports team in Louisville since the Kentucky Colonels basketball team folded back in the 1970s. Today, we're spotlighting this young but already accomplished club with two leaders on the field. Joining us is head coach Bev Yanez. Bev is a former professional forward who played in the U.S., Australia, Japan, and Finland. She was a top scorer in Japan's Nadeshiko League with the Seattle Reign, making best 11 teams in both leagues. After retiring, she has already become one of the youngest head coaches and one of just a handful of women leading at this level. Bev, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Also joining us is Racing's captain, Arin Wright. Arin is one of the most decorated players in University of Kentucky history, leading the Wildcats to their first NCAA Sweet 16 and becoming the first UK player drafted into professional soccer. Before joining Racing as a founding player, she spent 8 seasons with the Chicago Red Stars. Arin, thanks for being here on Track.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Arin, I'm going to start with you. Racing Louisville is still one of the newer teams in the NWSL. For listeners who might not know the backstory, can you walk us what you know and how the club came to be?
Yeah, so I actually vividly remember when Racing came to be. It was in 2020, and I had just had my son, and I heard of Kentucky, specifically Louisville, finally getting a professional women's soccer team. And the first emotion that came was just tears, like just excitement of just what that meant to the state, being from there, and how much like that would mean to little girls growing up there that play soccer. And then obviously for myself and my family, and thinking, wait, is this actually a place that I could go play at some point, whether that's now or later? It was just a really memorable moment for me.
That's so cool to hear. And then Bev, you came in as head coach just a few years ago, taking on your first head coaching role in the NWSL, and you're killing it, if I might say. What drew you to this team and to Louisville, and what's been the most exciting part of leading this team?
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, I came in originally as an assistant coach. Once I had retired back in 2020, I had spent a lot of time getting my coaching licenses, a lot of experience on the field, had navigated a club in Silicon Valley as the boys technical director, and then coached several teams. But throughout my entire playing career, I always coached. I knew it was the next step for me. I just didn't know when that next step would come or what it would look like when it came. So spent a few years with Gotham as an assistant coach, came over here as an assistant coach, and then have been privileged and honored to be able to step into the role as a head coach. This is only my second season. I think I'm learning a lot about myself, the way that I like to lead, who I am as a leader. And I think a lot of who I was as a player and who I was fortunate enough to play for has influenced kind of my style. And I am just a firm believer in leading in such an authentic way and being different in that space. And very grateful that it's here, very grateful that we have the group that we have. And I've just found that through my time being in this position, I've just really understood everything that goes into it. I think you always prepare yourself of what it may look like once you're in the position, but not until you go through it do you fully understand all that it takes to be in the position and manage everything, and also give your best in that capacity as a mother, as a coach, in all of those spaces. But I do believe that I've been very fortunate to be in the position, and as a player, I always felt I had the mindset of no matter who I am, I'm always going to give 100%, and I'm going to learn lessons along the way. And I feel like not enough coaches come into the space like, this is who I am, this is what I'd like to be in the role, but also learn along the way. I think a lot of what we teach is education, teaching players what we believe will help them be successful, but we're asking them the entire time to develop along the way. I think we need to be asking ourselves those same questions. So I try to just merely mimic exactly what environment I'd like to be a part of and lead in, but also show them that I'm also vulnerable, I can be empathetic, and I can also be learning lessons along the way as well.
I love that. That's so important because then it's more relatable too along the way. I'm just curious, like you said, in just a few seasons, Racing Louisville has built an identity both on and off the pitch from your perspective, how would you describe the team's style of play and the culture? I mean, you've already talked about the culture you're working to build. Altogether, kind of, what is that looking like for you?
Yeah, and I think I've developed a lot as a person since last year, being in the role now for the second year. I think I took a lot of time this off season to reflect how I could be a better version for myself, for the players, and for the staff. And I think ultimately it came down to I really needed to embrace the city, understand the city, really come to how can I be more clear for the group? How can I really put into words and passion that I feel and I know what the group could be successful in, just down to 3 basic things, right? And spent a lot of time understanding who I'm working with, player-wise, staff-wise, and really came into this season, and I'm hopeful that the players feel that way as well, really came into this season wanting players to bond very early on with the ideas that we had, be very collaborative. I think some people fear collaboration because they want to be the leaders. They want to make all the final decisions. I value collaboration. I value when you tell someone to do something, it's much different to involve them in that process and then say, let's do this versus this is what I want you to do. So I really value those parts of the game, those parts of leadership. The ability to connect with people is very important for me. So all the reflection has brought me into the idea of being very collaborative and upfront and honest and transparent with the direction I believe that we could be successful in. I'd say that I'm hopeful the players would say the same thing in identifying who we are. I think we're very aggressive. I think we have very high intensity in our press. Out of possession has been a massive, massive influence for us this year. I think we've been very good in attacking transition on the flip side of that. And I think we're just a team that people now fear playing. I think in the past it's always been, okay, racing's up next. But I think now people really don't know what to expect from the match and really know what to expect from what they're going to get on the pitch from us as a group. And I think we always speak about it. Firm believer in you can outwork any talent. I think our group's very talented, but I think they're willing to put in the work. And I think once you combine those 2 things, I think you're unstoppable.
I love that you said they fear you. And I know before we started talking, we were talking about hearing things in the mic. And so now I want to be like... So, Arin, I've got to ask you, because you've been with the team since the inaugural season. I mean, how have you seen the team grow and evolve? And what stands out to you about the bond you've built as a group?
Yeah, so I came in last year and I have seen the group just evolve so much over from last year to this year. We were great last year, but we are approaching unstoppable this year. I think Bev has done exactly what she said she's done. She's created a culture and environment here for players to not only thrive on the field, but to thrive off the field. And I think we all share the same thought of like Bev has said before, this team is made up of good people first and then good soccer players. And when you have that in a locker room, it's hard to explain to people. I played now for 12 years and I know a locker room that is going to be successful and I know a locker room that's not going to be successful. And you can just feel it in our locker room this year. Just everyone gets along with everyone. People are honest with each other. They don't beat around the bush. And that's what you kind of need to have a championship team. So people are so happy here. We have the state-of-the-art stadium. We have state-of-the-art fields. We have amazing coaches that treat us like great, like we're people and not just like this I guess, entity commodity, their investment, And that's a great feeling as a player to be thought of as a person and not just a player. And I think that just allows us to thrive and really be our best selves on the field. So I think every single person, 1 through 26 on the roster, are really enjoying their time. And I mean, look at all the re-signings we're having. People want to continue to be here.
Do you have any sort of bonding rituals or ceremonial kind of things?
We do have some superstitious people on the team. But so the beginning of the season, we tried to create this dance. It went poorly. It was some sort of line dance. We wanted to try and make it kind of country. Didn't work. But Sarah Weber on our team, she has a dance that she does and before every game, and it just pumps the group up. But I would say that's probably our one thing that we do.
That's a great thing. I'm sorry the first dance didn't work out.
Yeah,
but
no,
another one might.
It was a fail, and it was my fail.
So I have to ask, but this is really a question for both of you. What's unique about playing and winning, of course, in Louisville compared to other places that you both have played? I'll start with you, Bev.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's, look, I think this city is so special. I think it's a highly underrated city. I think not a lot of people know about it. And truth be told, one of the biggest reasons I know about it is because my husband played soccer at U of L. So back in 2007 through about 2009, I was visiting back and forth from my college. And that's where I first learned about the city, and was like, wow, I had no idea this was such a cool city and so underrated from the food perspective, but also underrated from a culture perspective. The people are so welcoming here, so kind. And I feel like they've embraced us. I think they've embraced the team. I think obviously Lou City has been amazing, so fantastic for so many years. And we are so grateful for the relationship that we have with them and all the fans and all the support that they've continued to receive, and so impressed by them. And to be able to have the community also embrace us since we've come about since 2020. And in the same fashion, in a similar way, has just been really exciting for us. And it means a lot. I mean, obviously, attendance-wise, we'd love an opportunity for more people to be in the seats. And I think it's grown a bit. I know Gilly would probably agree this year it's grown. But we are just so grateful for the opportunity to represent the city. And I think when Gilly speaks about people first, everyone enjoys representing this city and cares a lot about the city. And you don't often always find that on teams. And are very proud to represent the logo and represent the city. And so it's just been great. We feel really embraced. We feel when we do have the crowd, whether the seats are full or not, the crowd's behind us. And I think that's super special and very unique.
And I have to say, like, I've been to a game and I've seen like the lines out the door for the merch. That's the thing that is like blows me mind. They're there to represent you for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Arin?
I guess for me, if I'm thinking from a player perspective, I think when you look at our roster, you don't see a lot of those big names, right? We've got a few, but what's been so awesome is like we love that underdog mentality for every single player on our team. Like they live for that. Like that drives them. That's their fuel, and it feeds them on the field. And I think like we take a lot of pride and joy being like, you don't know our name, you're going to know it soon. And I think that we've kind of started to develop that here with Racing Louisville. Like everyone doesn't, like people don't really talk about Louisville, but we want to make people start talking. And we do that simply with our play. And I really enjoy this locker room because it's a humble locker room. It's humble, but we're going to come for you, you know? So I think for me, that's one of my favorite parts about this team.
And, you know, I mean, you talk about being underdogs, but most recently you won your second Women's Cup title defeating Brazilian club Palmeiras. I mean, what was that experience like?
Incredible. I mean, to play in a place that just loves soccer. It's, I think, in one of our interviews, they were saying it's the birth of football. It's the capital of football. And it was so cool to just be in an environment where soccer is their sport. They eat, breathe, live. Everything is soccer. And to be in a place and see the passion that there is around the sport, and knowing that at some point that could be the passion that lives within Louisville and lives within the U.S. around soccer is a really exciting thing for me as an athlete that grew up in a place, in a space where soccer was not thought of that way. And we've tried to push that needle forward so that it is.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, unfortunately, I wasn't with the group due to the miscarriage that I had just shortly before that trip. Unfortunate circumstances, but got to spend a lot of time at home with my family. But I think the most important thing about the culture that you're creating, not only amongst a group, but also as staff, is that the support I felt from the group, from every single player reaching out, every single staff member, what do you need from us? Said a lot about who we have there. I think Mitch stepped up and was fantastic for the group, led the group. He's a very good person, very good leader, and really knows, the direction that we're headed in. And I think to feel that confident about a group going and so confident that they're going to achieve great things because you know who they are, was an unbelievable feeling. I kept going back and forth. Do I go? Do I not go? And I also, as a side note, really value having people on staff that you can trust. I'm not one that's just, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to say everything. It's only my voice. I really like to keep in mind pretty consistently that I may reach this group this day, but what about the 15 others? They need to hear it a different way from a different voice. And maybe it's not my voice today. So I really like to shape that in the environment, that it doesn't always need to be me. And to have a staff that I trust and feel fully comfortable with and confident in is really exciting. So he was beyond phenomenal. They all FaceTimed me at dinner one night, and it's special, right? You just, like she's explaining, you just don't often have that. And to have the players say, we want to, support Bev during this time, like to have that relationship as a whole is special and is unique. So I think I'm just feeling very grateful for all of that, and to hear about their experience has been really fun.
I'm so sorry that happened to you, but I love that you have this beautiful community around you. It's so cool to hear from both of you how this is like more than a team, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
But Arin, I have to ask, wasn't Brazil mad at you?
Yeah, probably. But I think they loved that we loved being there so much. We enjoyed the food, like the city. Sao Paulo was incredible. Like I didn't realize it was just like a sea of city. It just kept going in the horizon. I just didn't realize it's the fourth largest city in the world. Yep. Had no idea. Got there and I was like, wow, this is incredible. But yeah, no, it was phenomenal.
Well, we'll be back with more in just a minute. You're on track with Louisville Public Media. All right, welcome back to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and we're joined by Racing Louisville's head coach, Bev Yanez, and team captain, Arin Wright, to talk about the team's journey, their place in Louisville's sports identity, and what lies ahead this season. So Louisville, as we've talked about, has a strong soccer presence now with both Racing and Louisville City. How do you see Racing contributing to the city's sports identity, and do you think Louisville is becoming a soccer city already?
I guess I'll take that. I guess I've heard through the rumor mill that Louisville at some point is going to be the women's sports capital, and that they'd like to bring more women's sports here. So for me, whether that's true or not, it's a cool vision that I would like to continue this, I guess, rumor. But it would be very neat to see this city, because Louisville and Kentucky in general loves to rally behind their sports teams, right? They love it. Growing up in Lexington myself and attending Kentucky, I know that very well, the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry. So to have a city that revolves around women's sports would be absolutely phenomenal. And I just think that we've done a great job of, we're now 7th in the standings. And I think that shows that there's tremendous talent that is coming here from all over the world, not just here in the U.S., but all over the world. People from, we've got Uche, who's from Nigeria. We've got Ange, who plays for Colombia. We've got Ari, who's from Brazil. You are getting to watch the best players in the world right in your backyard. And if we can have that in other sports as well, and they're all female athletes.
I love that too. And you touch on a great point, because I feel like women's sports is growing, and women's soccer too, in visibility and investment internationally. Have you personally seen that changing the opportunities and challenges for players and for coaches here in town?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's interesting, right? Because way back in my days, it feels like a long time ago, being in the league and watching the leagues she knows as well, being a very veteran player in the league, watching the league's progression. And since leaving the league as a player in 2020, the amount of progression in 5 years has been incredible for myself to witness and to see and to be a part of, and still be in the space, obviously in a different role, and be a part of the pioneership, if you will, 0.01%, because there were so many before. There's still so many now. One sitting right next to me that continues to push for progression. And now I'm just experiencing on the coach's side. It feels like the whole space has presented itself in just a different way for me. And I've definitely seen and have been a big fighter for visibility, because unless you see it, you can't dream it. And the visibility being very important. I mean, I still now am clicking on Hulu, and Hulu has like every college game on. I'm like, if my parents had access to this, they would have loved it. If scouts had access to it, right? It's just, the visibility is real. It's here. It's, the women's game is progressing. So the more that it continues to be a part of it, and as the investment continues, I think it will only get bigger. I think you're just starting to see it on the cusp, and I think it's already making a big sound. So I'm curious and excited to see where it goes next, both for progression for the players and what that means, but also as coaches to continue to see. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see. I didn't know that all the games were on Hulu, so now
All of them. All of them. It's unreal.
So I know that the NWSL is still young compared to other leagues. Thinking about that, so from both of your perspectives, what needs to happen to keep women's pro soccer growing stronger in Louisville and beyond?
Investment, visibility. Those are the two biggest things. We need people to want to invest, to believe in us. I think we've found that here in Louisville. We've got so many owners that truly believe in like what the NWSL and what we can do here. But also that visibility aspect. Like you can have people that believe, but unless you're going to put your product onto platforms where people can reach it all over the world and not just in one location, people aren't going to know what a great product you have, right? So I think those are the two biggest things that I have noticed have helped push us forward in the 12 years that I've been in the league. At one point, we were on Lifetime, and we came on after Little Women of Atlanta. That was, and now you can get us on Hulu, you can get us on NWSL Player Mount Plus, like ESPN Plus, all those things. And that's a 12-year span, right? But what's it going to look like in 10 years? I think it's just, you need the investment and you need the visibility.
Yeah, and visibility I've seen pop up a bit. I came from Minnesota before, and they opened a women's sports bar, and it's one of the most popular bars, and it's really cool to see that kind of pop up, just for anyone in Louisville listening. Well, what's ahead for racing? I heard that you have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I think for us as a group, I think we've set out good standards, a good environment here early on, so that I'm not a big believer in like consistently talking about things and putting pressure on everything. I'm a big believer in like if you follow the process, you'll flourish from it. So I always am very protective, and I hope the players feel this. I'm very protective of them. I don't want them to worry about anything on the outside. I want them to worry about us, and I want them to worry game by game. So oftentimes when I'm presented with information where it's like, your next 5 games, I try and be very protective of what that looks like in the narrative, because we all operate off the environment of how the narrative's being created. And I believe as the leader, I'm supposed to create the best narrative possible for the perspective to always stay fresh within the group. And there to be one objective. Once we get that one objective, here's our next. And then throughout that, you start to see a process be put in place. Oh, wow, we're starting to trend very well in this direction as a group. But it's because we're taking it day by day. As soon as I'm just a large believer in once you get too far ahead and you're thinking about this space, you put so much pressure on what day-to-day looks like, and you get away from the main objective, which is we want to put on a good performance and we want to be proud of the process that we're doing it so in. And I think once you start to strategize and think about those spaces very consistently, you've got individuals focused on what they can do to best help the team. You find yourself in a really good spot. So I think for us, it's, of course, our objective is to make playoffs. Of course, that's our objective outside of the team goals we've set for the season. But most importantly, we want to be proud of what we put out on the pitch. We want to be proud when we walk off the pitch, whether it's 1 point, 3 points, or none. You know our preference. We want to be proud. We want to be proud. And I think when you take that aspect and when you take that into a match, you feel you're walking away with something out of it. You'll always see how we can improve, and you'll always see what the process can continue to look like, and you only get better, in my opinion.
See, when I hear you say that, I also can see that applied to daily life. And this is just a really good reflection of you just being a really good coach. And I'm not trying to paint it sounds. I mean, I'm looking
Here's
at
your $5.
And I was like, I don't even think I need to say anything. This is why she's the coach.
No, I appreciate it.
I mean, it's incredible. But so when you look to the future, I mean, what do you hope racing will be known for, both in the league, but also here in Louisville?
I think personally, as a player, like I want to be known as the gritty team that never stops, that people just dread to play because they know we're going to work harder than them every single day. For me, there's something that is so beautiful about the one thing you can't control is effort. And for me as a player, that's kind of what I built my career around, is the effort that I give on and off the field. And that's one thing that's non-negotiable for me with teammates. If you're not giving effort, it's going to be a hard day for me to look at you. And I just think when you've got a team that's fully bought in like that and they are just willing to give everything they have to the team and it's selfless, that is just such a great culture to have. And so I hope that when fans watch us, they see that identity peeking through.
Well, I don't know if I could say it any better than that. Yeah, I agree. I think we talk so much about who we are as a team and what our identity is. And the core of our identity is that it reflects directly back to me feeling like from top to bottom, we have good people in the room. And when you have that and they're willing to go the extra mile, not only because they believe in what they're capable of, but they believe in what the person to the left, right, in front of them, behind them is all capable of. You have people being exceptional in their roles. And one thing I was taught very early on is very simply, like, life's not fair. You're going to feel you deserve something and you're not going to get it. And football makes 0 sense sometimes. 0. And it can be very cruel. It can throw you up on a pedestal just as fast as it could grab you by the shirt and throw you on the floor. And what I'm hoping to help from an environment perspective is showcase our identity and showcase how amazing these individuals are, no matter their role within the group, how amazing they are and how proud they are to represent the city, but also to show that this is life. We are going to fall down. Sometimes it's going to be 1 step. Sometimes it's going to be 10 steps. Sometimes we're going to rise up 10 steps, but ultimately putting on that shield of armor and going, but nobody's going to hurt our group. Nobody's going to get inside this group, and how quickly they can put that armor back on themselves and back on the group is ultimately what I believe will carry them past football. Because someday they're going to be presented with very similar scenarios, just in a different way. And I want them to be very proud of who they are in that moment, very confident of who they are in that moment.
Sounds like resilience, too. That's incredible. Well, before I let you go, I wanted to ask if you have one favorite moment in your time with the team so far.
My favorite moment. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
That's all right. That's all right.
We have too many of them.
Okay. That's perfect. Well,
Can't pick one.
Yeah.
Bev, Arin, thank you so much for being here on Track.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bev Yanez is the head coach of Racing Louisville, one of the youngest coaches in the NWSL, and Arin Wright is Racing's captain, a founding player, and one of the most decorated athletes in University of Kentucky soccer history, where she starred for the Wildcats. On Track is a production of Louisville Public Media. The On Track production team includes Michelle Tyreen Johnson, Alex Biscardi, and Laura Ellis. Our music is by Kojin Toshiro. If you'd like to revisit this episode or explore other community-focused conversations, visit LouisvilleOnTrack.org or find us in your podcast app. Have feedback or ideas for a future show? Connect with us at 502-814-TALK or ontrack@lpm.org. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and remember, if you have backyard pride, you can run with racing stride by stride. Until next time, you're on track with Louisville Public Media.
Snack time just got a glow up with My Mochi ice cream. My Mochi is scoops of delicious ice cream wrapped in sweet, chewy dough. It's creamy, dreamy, and totally satisfying. My Mochi comes in fabulous flavors like strawberry, mango, and cookies and cream. Gluten-free and only 70 calories apiece, My Mochi is the perfect anytime treat. Because why wait for a reason to feel joyfully chill? Grab a purple box of My Mochi ice cream and chew it. Love it. Repeat.